In today's video, I'm going to be discussing 7 reasons why you might want to consider ditching the dye. Hi, I'm Lynn, and I inspire women to go naturally silver and to embrace the best versions of themselves. The first reason you may want to consider ditching the dye is to save time. In the salon, it can take on average approximately 2 hours to get your hair colored. That includes the time required to apply the dye to your hair, the processing time, and then of course washing it out and styling it. You have to add more time to that if you've had any highlighting done or the application of any toner. The actual time it's going to take is going to depend on a variety of factors. Obviously, the length of your hair, the efficiency and experience of your stylist in applying the hair dye, the natural color of your hair or whatever color you're going from and going to. If you're going from a very dark color to a lighter color, that can take more time. Also, the type of hair that you have. Curly hair may take a little longer to process. If it's more porous, it's going to take a little bit longer for the dye molecules to penetrate that hair shaft. The type of dye that's being used is also a factor, as well as any highlighting or balayage services that you might also be adding to possibly a base hair dye. So adding extra services like highlighting and foils, balayage, ombre, and then of course a toner that's applied after any bleaching process can add anywhere from an additional 2 to 4 hours depending on the length of your hair. Now for a salon root touch-up, you might be looking at about 30 minutes of application and then 45 minutes of additional processing, plus washing it out and of course styling. So for a root touch-up, you're possibly looking at less than 2 hours. Now you also have to factor in other things such as, if your stylist is running behind, if you need extra consultation with the stylist, maybe you're coming in for a color correction, that's gonna take time. Or if you have a hair type that just simply takes a little while longer to absorb the dye. Also, a professional stylist is gonna assess the condition of your hair and make sure that whatever technique or color application that you're desiring is actually appropriate for your hair. Dyeing your hair at home generally takes less time than going to a salon, but you do run the risk of damaging your hair. You have to carefully read the instructions that come with the dye, especially if it's a brand that you've never used before or if you haven't done it in a while, kind of to refresh your memory. You also should be performing that strand test that I think most of us overlook. That's something because when you're not going to a professional, you don't have the guidance that somebody is there, a professional, to look at the health and integrity of your hair and then know what chemical you're putting on it to make sure that your hair isn't just going to break or fall out. So that's why that strand test is actually very important, but that does add additional time to your coloring time. Also, your application process might be longer because you're having to reach the back of your head, areas that you can't see unless you have somebody helping you. You could be making a mess in your bathroom. So, there's just a lot of things that can actually add time to that home dyeing experience. Now, whether at home or in the salon, this process is generally repeated every 4 to 6 weeks. Not only to maintain root touch-ups and roots as they're coming in, but also because hair color tends to fade over time. Some women actually report getting their roots touched up every 2 to 3 weeks, especially if those grays are coming around the face and they're quite obvious. So, they don't want those to show at all, so they're gonna go a lot more frequently. Maintaining silver hair takes really no measurable amount of time. Other than using an occasional purple shampoo in your shower in order to maintain vibrancy and brightness and avoid yellowing, there's really no maintenance to the hair color when you go naturally silver. There's really no reason to go to a salon. Now, of course, if you enjoy the experience of going to the salon, that pampering, and you have a good relationship with your stylist and you don't want to ever not see him or her again, then you can still go. You can go and get your hair trimmed. You're still going to need haircuts, and you can go and just schedule a blowout or any kind of styling services. The second reason to ditch the dye is that you're going to save money. Salon hair coloring prices are going to vary based on the services that you get done, the experience level of your hairstylist, the condition of your hair, and the coloring technique that's used. For single process color, this is color that's just applied all over the head, you're looking at a price range of about $70 to $100 every time you go. Single process color is color that's done all in one step, with one consistent hair color going all over your head or just on your roots if it's a root touch-up. This type of color is generally refreshed or redone every 4 to 6 weeks. For double process color, you're looking at about $100 to $200 or more. Double process color is color that's applied in 2 steps. An example of this would be, say, getting your hair highlighted and then a toner is applied. Those would be 2 steps. Double process color, especially highlighting, may or may not include the application of single process color in between those foils or highlights to color grays or to change the base color of your hair. And that can definitely add to the cost. For specialty coloring, such as ombre or balayage, you might be looking at $125 or more, and that could be in addition to any other coloring that you have done, including root touch-up. Toner is a product that's applied generally after any bleaching procedure in order to tone the hair to a desired level, to adjust the undertone of the hair, usually after coloring. It can run about $50. Now, some people go into a salon and just have their hair toned in and of itself, but that would be looking at around $50 for the application of toner. Salon root touch-ups to cover grown-out hair dye or gray hair can run about $50 to $75. At-home hair color is less expensive. It can run anywhere from $5 to $30, depending on the type of products that are used and also what tools are needed to be purchased in order to apply the products. And if your hair is long, you're going to need to purchase additional products. Now, we all know that the risk of box dye hair disasters is quite high, and so you might be looking at the cost in addition to of some color correction that has to be done in the salon if you make a mistake. And don't forget the cost of needing to buy more expensive hair care products in order to help maintain that color or extend the life of that color. Now, the third reason you may want to consider ditching the dye is to look more natural. Blotchy hair color or hot roots, where the roots end up coming out lighter than the rest of your hair, shoe polish brown or black hair from single process hair dye. If you color your hair at home, or even if you go to the wrong stylist, you may have experienced any one of these. They're a dead giveaway that you're coloring your hair. Nothing looks more natural than your natural hair color. There's dimension, there's natural highlights in your natural color that you really can't get in a salon. A fourth reason that you may want to consider ditching the dye is to be free. Imagine never having to worry about your roots showing, or never having to check in the mirror to see if those roots are starting to peek through and that it's time to dye again. Or planning events around hair dye appointments or hair dye appointments around events. It's absolutely liberating. The cycle of dyeing your hair and loving it, then loathing it as it's growing in again, then loving it again when you go get it colored again, then loathing it again as it grows in and fades. It's exasperating. Imagine being satisfied with your hair color most of the time. The fifth reason you may want to consider ditching the dye is to improve the quality and health of your hair. Using harsh chemicals on your hair like hair dye and bleach can compromise the integrity of your hair, making it more prone to being dry, brittle, and more prone to breakage. That can keep your hair from even growing long. Giving up hair dye means healthier hair with more natural shine and volume. The sixth reason you may want to ditch the dye is to reduce your exposure to harmful chemicals, whether through direct contact or inhalation. Exposure to hair dyes, either through direct contact or by inhaling the fumes during the coloring process, can cause health problems in some people. These can range from skin irritation to full-blown allergic reactions. Some people have severe allergic reactions to hair dye, especially the ingredient found in a lot of hair dyes known as PPD. This ingredient is often found in permanent hair dyes. Some people may also experience contact dermatitis from using hair dyes. This is where the skin can become red, irritated, blister even, or otherwise irritated. And the seventh reason you may want to ditch the dye is to fall in love with your natural hair color. You may think that you have an idea of what your natural silver hair is going to look like. And if you're still dyeing your hair, you may be worried that it might not be a good look for you. But you might be pleasantly surprised. You may think you have an idea of what your natural silver hair will look like, only to be pleasantly surprised at how amazingly unique it is once you grow it out. All the natural highlights, how the light dances on it, literally glistens in the sun, how dimensional it is. These are all great reasons to ditch the dye because your natural, unique hair color cannot be replicated in the salon. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching.